My GF demanded, 2 months no contact, I need to heal. While her yoga instructor whispered in her ear, I took everything, left her healing manual, How to Adult Edition, and watched her independence collapse. Hey Reddit, so my girlfriend hit me with the classic, I need space to heal speech. Right after her yoga instructor started whispering sweet nothings at class. Instead of flipping out, I decided to play along. Packed a bag, told her I supported her journey, and let her think she won. But here's the thing. When someone begs for independence, sometimes the best revenge is giving them exactly what they asked for. So yeah, this is how my long-term relationship basically ended with a yoga mat and a guy named Aiden. I, 27 male, had been with Piper, 25 female, for almost 2 years, living together for about 8 months in this decent downtown apartment. At first, things were fine. Normal couple stuff. But then Piper discovered yoga. And not just like, oh, I do a class here and there. No, she dove headfirst into full spiritual crystal lotus everything mode. Every conversation turned into a TED talk about chakras, trauma bonds, or some random line her instructor said in class. She started throwing out words like toxic patterns and codependency, like she was diagnosing me every time I opened my mouth. If I asked her to do dishes, controlling. If I suggested we spend a Friday night together, codependent. If I pointed out she was late coming home again, toxic. Basically, anything I did became some red flag she learned about in a book or from Aiden. And of course, the guy she quoted constantly was Aiden, her new yoga instructor. Aiden says breathing through resistance teaches you strength. Aiden explained how attachment is suffering. Like bro, Aiden's just a dude in stretchy pants telling people to inhale and exhale, not a licensed therapist. At first I thought, whatever. New hobby. Better than her wasting time on trash TV. But later that week, she finally staged her little performance. Walks in late on a Tuesday night, smelling like incense and overpriced organic lotion, and sits down on the far edge of the couch. You know that fake calm people put on when they've been practicing a speech in the mirror? Yeah, that. Jonathan, I need to talk to you about something important, she says, all serious. I mute the TV, nod, and let her go. I've been doing a lot of self-reflection, she continues, eyes wide like she's on stage. And I realize I need space to heal and rediscover who I am outside of this relationship. I think we should take a break. No contact for 2 months. Complete separation. She said it like she was reading from a script. Honestly, I almost clapped. I just tilted my head and asked, what does that mean exactly? It's not about breaking up, she rushed to clarify. It's about healing. Aiden explained how important it is to open yourself to growth without codependent influence. I swear she almost quoted him word for word. My lips twitched, but I kept my face straight. So your yoga instructor is giving relationship advice now? She froze, cheeks going red. He's been through this before. He understands toxic patterns. Right. Aiden the stretch messiah. I leaned back, crossed my arms, and let her dig her hole deeper. Okay, so no contact for 2 months. What about the apartment? That's when she perked up like she'd been waiting for this part. Well, since the lease has both our names, I think it makes more sense if you move out. That way I can keep the apartment as my healing space. You're always out with Jake anyway, and I'd have more privacy for my journaling and yoga. Translation. Please move out so I can play house with Aiden while keeping the nice apartment. I just looked at her for a second, pretending to think. In reality, I knew exactly what was happening. She wanted me to foot the bills and keep my name on the lease while she used the apartment as her little healing retreat/hookup pad. She thought she was playing chess, but she was moving checkers pieces. So I nodded slowly and said, actually, if this is about you finding yourself, maybe that's the right call. I'll move out for a bit so you can really have the apartment to yourself. Full privacy, no distractions. Her eyes lit up like I'd just handed her free yoga retreats for life. Really? You'd do that? I smiled. Of course. If this is about you healing, you should have your own space. She practically squealed. That's perfect. I wasn't expecting you to offer, but that would help so much. Oh, I bet it would. I told her I'd start packing that night, and she hugged me like I was the most supportive boyfriend ever. In her head, she just convinced me to step aside while she lived out her fake spiritual journey with Aiden. In my head, I was already planning how to flip the whole script on her. Because here's the thing. She thought she was slick, but I knew Aiden wasn't just her yoga therapist. And I wasn't about to blow it up yet. Nope. I was going to nod, smile, and give her exactly what she asked for. Space, independence, no contact. Except she had no idea what that actually looked like. She really thought I was going to grab a duffel bag of clothes, toss my toothbrush in a pocket, and head off to Jake's couch while she stretched in her candle palace. She imagined herself in healing space bliss, Aiden whispering affirmations into her ear while my name stayed on the lease and the bills kept flowing like magic. Cute fantasy. What she didn't know was that I had the entire next move mapped out. I wasn't going to flip the couch or drag furniture out like some angry ex. No, I play surgical. Quiet, clean, and effective. So while Piper was at her precious yoga class, I went to work. First target, the TV. That 65-inch beauty was mine, bought with my bonus check. She loved using it for her healing documentaries. So of course I pulled the plug, boxed it up, and carried it out. That wall looked naked afterward, which was perfect. She could meditate on emptiness, right? Next was the coffee maker. That machine was my pride. She wasn't even a coffee drinker until she got hooked on the fresh brew I made every morning. Without it, she'd be back to choking down matcha powder like it was medicine. The empty spot on the counter was subtle but deadly. Then came the router. People forget how invisible but vital that little box is until it's gone. I yanked the cables, tucked it under my arm, and grinned. Her next Instagram post would be running on pure data because Wi-Fi wasn't happening. After that, I swept the kitchen for the practical stuff I'd bought. Silverware, pans, knives, even my blender. She could keep her mason jars and chipped mug. If Aiden wanted smoothies, he could figure it out with a fork and a candle. The point wasn't to strip the place bare. It was to make it just inconvenient enough that life would slowly fall apart. The bed and couch stayed. The apartment still looked Instagram-worthy at a glance. But try to live in it? Different story. And then came the pièce de résistance. Instead of leaving my little gifts out in the open, I slid them into the drawer by the bed, the one she never used for anything but random receipts. A bright yellow sticky note sat on top of a fat binder. The note said, "Good luck on your healing journey. Utilities equals adulting. Jonathan apostrophe." And the binder? That was my masterpiece. Labeled in Sharpie, Piper's Healing Manual, How to Adult Edition. The first page read, "Internet won't run on crystals. Call the provider and pay money. Account closed effective Friday. Maybe Aiden can hotspot you between Savasana sessions." Page 2 was rent. Monthly total, $2,100. Try manifesting that. Spoiler, landlords don't take affirmations. Page 3, utilities. Chakras don't power light bulbs. Call the company, prove you live here, and enjoy your $300 deposit. Very healing. Page 4, dishes. The universe doesn't do housework. Soap is under the sink. Good luck, guru. I even tossed in trash day. Spoiler, garbage won't levitate itself down 3 flights of stairs no matter how much sage you burn. Thursday night, don't miss it. Petty? Yeah, but she'd asked for independence. I was just making sure she got the deluxe package. Once the apartment was prepped, I headed to meet with Mr. Grant, our landlord. Solid guy, straightforward, no nonsense. I explained I was moving out permanently and wanted my name off the lease. He didn't blink. Mr. Grant already had Piper's original rental app on file, so he said it was a standard mid-lease split. All it took was me signing off and him flagging her for follow-up. 5 minutes of paperwork on my end, and boom, Piper was on the hook for the place. $2,100 rent every month, all on her. Utilities came next. Quick calls, some hold music, and it was done. Electric, gas, internet, all scheduled to shut down at the end of the month. Water was building managed, so Mr. Grant just flipped it straight into Piper's name when I pulled mine. No deposit on my side since I was leaving, but she'd get billed going forward. Translation? Piper would be on the phone, trying to convince them she wasn't still mooching off her boyfriend. Deposits, credit checks, the whole package. By the time I pulled into Jake's place that night, the whole thing was locked down. He cracked up when I told him about the binder. "Dude, you left her homework for being an adult," he said, nearly spitting out his drink. Exactly. Later that evening, my phone buzzed. "Piper, thanks for being so understanding. You don't know how much this means for my healing journey. I'm so grateful." I stared at the screen, grinning. She thought I'd just taken a few toys with me, probably convinced herself I'd be back for the rest, or that I was leaving her space temporarily. She had no idea she'd just been signed up for Rent plus Utilities 101 with a sarcastic professor. I didn't reply. Why ruin the surprise? Meanwhile, in her apartment, the binder sat in that drawer like a time bomb. She hadn't seen it yet. She wouldn't until the perfect moment. For now, she was smug, lighting candles, stretching on her mat, maybe thinking Aiden was about to move into her new sacred space. And me? I was sitting in Jake's spare room, relaxed for the first time in months, knowing she was thanking me for setting her up to fail. That's the kind of revenge I like. Quiet, precise, no yelling, no drama. Just me walking away while she builds her own disaster, one smug Instagram post at a time. And she still thought I was coming back. Meanwhile, I was busy actually living. Jake let me crash in his spare room while I hunted for my own spot. And honestly, it felt like a vacation. No passive-aggressive sighs, no crystals cluttering the counter, no lectures about toxic patterns when I asked a simple question. Just peace in a fridge that wasn't full of oat milk and gut health tonics. Within a week, I found a loft 15 minutes from work. Old building, high ceilings, a little rough around the edges, but it had character. The kind of place that felt like mine from day one. I signed the lease, moved in with my boxes, and slept better than I had in months. Funny how silence can feel like luxury when you've been stuck in constant drama. Funny enough, my new loft was managed by the same company Mr. Grant worked for. Sister property just across town. That made the whole move stupid easy. Same office, same paperwork, no drama. I started picking up hobbies I'd been putting off, signed up for a woodworking class at the local makerspace. First night, I built this lopsided little shelf that looked like it belonged in a cartoon, but it was mine. There's something solid about making something with your hands instead of constantly patching holes in someone else's journey. My mornings? Gym, coffee, then work. No interruptions, no guilt trips. My boss even noticed I was sharper, said I seemed dialed in lately. Translation: not wasting mental energy on whether my girlfriend was actually at yoga or in Aiden's car. Piper, on the other hand, was performing for an audience. She turned her Instagram into a non-stop feed of independent queen content, candlelit selfies, yoga poses in the empty living room where my TV used to hang, close-up shots of her vision board with captions like, redefining me, myself, and I. I'll admit, the first time I saw one of her posts, I almost choked. She was sitting cross-legged in front of the blank wall where the TV had been, with the caption, "Sometimes you have to subtract to grow." No mention of the fact that the subtraction was me taking my TV back. Her friends ate it up at first. So inspiring! Proud of you! But if you looked closer at the pics, the cracks were already showing. Someone commented, "Why is the room so empty?" Another asked, "Didn't you used to have a coffee bar set up?" And my favorite, "Girl, where's your TV?" She ignored those. I didn't comment, didn't like, didn't engage. No contact meant no contact. But man, watching her try to cosplay as a strong, independent woman in a half-empty apartment was better entertainment than Netflix. She broke her own rule first. One night my phone buzzed, and it was her. "Hey, do you know why the water bill came in my name?" I didn't respond. 2 days later, "Rent's due next week. Don't forget to pay your share." That one made me laugh out loud. The whole point was her wanting to heal alone. She set the terms. She wanted no contact. She wanted space. I was just playing by her rules. Jake saw me ignoring her texts and said, "Man, you're living every guy's dream, watching her drown in her own BS without lifting a finger." And he wasn't wrong. The best part? The binder was still sitting in the drawer by the bed, untouched. She didn't even know it existed yet. All those sarcastic notes just waiting for her at the exact moment reality really hit. It was like planting a landmine in slow motion, and reality was coming. I could already tell from her posts. She'd gone from healing goddess to subtle complaints in under 3 weeks. First, it was vague quotes about strength. Then came posts like adulting is so exhausting. But I'm learning. She wasn't learning. She was flailing. Anyone with half a brain could see it. Me? I wasn't exhausted. I was thriving. New loft, new hobbies, new routines. Even started hanging with people from the woodworking class. Normal folks who didn't talk about chakras powering their electric bill. It was refreshing. One night, I sat in my loft, sipping coffee I made on the same machine I'd taken back from Piper, and I couldn't help grinning. She was probably sitting in that empty living room, staring at the wall, pretending her sacred space was intentional. Her yoga instructor could whisper all he wanted, but he wasn't paying rent, wasn't buying routers, wasn't unclogging sinks. That was all on her now, and she still thought I was coming back. That was the part that killed me. Piper floated around acting like she'd pulled off the ultimate move. Me gone, Aiden in, downtown apartment all to herself. She thought she'd hacked life. Meanwhile, I was sitting in my loft, drinking coffee from the same machine I'd yanked off her counter, enjoying mornings without hearing the words toxic or codependent every 5 minutes. Then came Tuesday night. I was sanding down a lopsided coffee table in my woodworking class when my phone buzzed. Piper. Normally, I ignored her, but the preview was too good. "Why are the lights out?" Did you forget to pay something? Nope, not my circus anymore. From what I later heard, she had invited a handful of her yoga buddies for another healing circle. Picture it, mats in a circle, incense burning, everyone humming while Piper pretended to be a guru. Right in the middle. Click. Total darkness. At first she tried to play it cool. The universe is testing us. But then the speaker died mid-chant, the playlist cut out, and the vibes flatlined. People packed up fast. One of them even posted a story later with the caption, "Healing circle, fail haha." That's when she panicked. My phone buzzed again and again. "Jonathan, seriously, this isn't funny. The lights won't come back on. I have people over. This is humiliating. Please just fix this one thing." I let her stew for 20 minutes, then finally dropped a single reply. "Open the drawer by the bed." That was it. No essay, no fight, no lecture, just a breadcrumb. 2 minutes later, my phone buzzed again. "Are you serious with this?" She even attached a photo of the binder cover like it was some sick joke. That was all the proof I needed. She'd found it, she'd read it, and the meltdown had officially begun. Another half hour passed before my phone lit up again. This time, an actual call. She was breaking her own sacred no-contact rule. I let it ring twice before answering, just to make her sweat. The second I picked up, she exploded, "What the hell, Jonathan? Are you serious right now? You actually took your name off the lease? You canceled everything?" I leaned back in my chair, smirking. "Oh, hey. I thought you wanted no contact. Funny how that goes out the window when the lights do." She sputtered. "This isn't a joke. I can't live like this. The landlord said I need deposits, credit checks, all this stuff. You can't just abandon me." "Abandon you?" I laughed. "Piper, you literally begged me to leave you alone so you could heal. That's what I'm doing. Respecting your wishes. Don't blame me if you didn't think it through." "This isn't healing, it's sabotage," she snapped. "No," I corrected, calm as ever. "It's adulting. You wanted independence. Well, independence comes with bills, not just yoga mats and Aiden's affirmations." Quick pause, fellas. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way. Thanks so much for your support. All right, back to the drama. She went quiet for a second, probably realizing how bad she sounded. Then she tried a softer tone. "Jonathan, please. Just this once. Pay it this month and I'll take over after. I'm overwhelmed." I almost felt bad. Almost. But then I remembered her smug little speech on the couch, quoting Aiden about toxic patterns. The guilt disappeared. "Sorry," I said flatly. "I retired from being your safety net. Maybe try manifesting an electrician." She cursed, then hung up. Not long after, I got a string of angry texts. "You're cruel. No one does this to someone they love. I should have known you'd weaponize this." I didn't even bother replying. The binder had already done the talking for me. The next morning, I stopped by Mr. Grant's office to drop off some paperwork for my own new place. He almost laughed, telling me about her meltdown call. She demanded he restore the power immediately. He explained calmly that since she was now the sole tenant, she needed to open accounts in her name. Proof of residency, deposit, credit check. According to him, she even tried negotiating. Asked if she could pay less for a few months because she was in transition. His response? "This is a lease, not a workshop." I could have bought that man lunch right there. Back at my loft, I checked Instagram out of curiosity. Sure enough, her feed had gone dead. No quotes, no selfies, no candle pics. When she finally posted again 2 days later, it was a photo of her staring out the window with the caption, "Growth through struggle." Problem was, the reflection in the glass showed the streetlight outside, because the lamps inside were still off. Comments roasted her. "Why is it so dark? Girl, pay your bills before preaching." She deleted half of them, but not before screenshots started floating around. And me? I was sitting in my loft, sipping hot coffee, scrolling through her fake posts while my router hummed quietly in the background. She was fighting shadows in a powerless apartment while I was finally at peace. She thought I was cruel. I thought I was doing her a favor. After all, wasn't this what she wanted? Independence. Space. Healing. She just didn't realize it came with late fees. And she still thought she'd won. That illusion didn't last long. It started with Talia, of course. Piper's best friend, her hype woman, her ride or die. The same one who sat in our kitchen last year bragging about how she only dates guys who drive luxury cars while sipping the coffee I made. Yeah, that Talia. She decided it was her duty to take Piper's side publicly. One night, while I was at the gym, I got a notification that someone tagged me in a post. I didn't open it right away, but Jake texted me laughing. Bro, your ex's friend is writing essays about you on Facebook. So I checked. Sure enough, Talia had posted a dramatic wall of text about toxic men who abandon women in their time of healing. She didn't drop my name, but come on. She mentioned a 2-year relationship and an apartment downtown. Everyone in our circle knew who she was talking about. Her post ended with, "It takes real strength to stand by a woman as she grows. Walking away is weakness disguised as boundaries." At first, the comments were predictable. A handful of her yoga buddies wrote stuff like, "Preach and stay strong, Piper." But then a guy from our mutual friend group chimed in, "Wait, didn't she ask for no contact? How is it abandonment if that's what she wanted?" That opened the floodgates. Another person, "If she wanted independence, why is she still reaching out for money?" Someone else, "Sounds like she wanted him to pay bills while she healed with her new dude." The comment section flipped in real time. People started poking holes in Talia's story. What was meant to be Piper's big sympathy grab turned into a roast session. And then came the picture. A girl from their yoga studio posted a candid shot in the comments. Piper and Aiden leaving together late at night. He was carrying her mat. She was holding his water bottle. Nothing explicitly scandalous, but paired with her whole healing journey speech. Yeah, the optics weren't great. The caption read, "Healing looks different for everyone, I guess, haha." That was when Aiden himself decided to jump in. And man, he should have stayed in Downward Dog. He commented, "Some men can't handle a woman's growth and will try to sabotage her journey. I'm proud of Piper for choosing independence." Instantly, people pounced. "Bro, aren't you her instructor? Kinda weird to coach her through a breakup while sleeping with her." "No? You sound like the type of guy who preaches while living off women's rent money." Aiden tried to clap back with more pseudo-wisdom. "I help people step into their authentic selves." Which only made it worse. Someone screenshotted his bio from the yoga studio site, where he called himself a spiritual healer with no actual credentials. Cue the clown emojis. To make it funnier, he wasn't even on staff, just a contractor renting class slots, which explained why the studio didn't step in to defend him. Dude wasn't some respected guru, he was basically paying rent to teach people how to breathe. Meanwhile, Piper stayed quiet. Not a peep, probably sitting in her candlelit apartment, reading every comment while the battery on her phone dropped because, surprise, no working outlets. I just sat back and watched. Didn't comment, didn't defend myself, didn't even like anything. That was the best part. I didn't need to. The internet was doing my job for me. Jake came over one night and pulled up Talia's rant on his phone. "Man, you've got to see this. They're trying to frame you as the villain, but it's backfiring so hard." We laughed for 20 minutes straight, scrolling through the roast comments. And then Mr. Grant, the landlord, added fuel to the fire. I swung by his office to sign something for my security deposit, and he casually mentioned, "Your ex tried negotiating rent with me again. Asked if she could cover part of it by teaching yoga to tenants in the community room." He shook his head, chuckling. "I told her this is a lease, not a barter system." I nearly lost it. Piper trying to pay rent with sun salutations? That's peak comedy. By the end of the week, Piper's whole independent queen narrative was in shambles. Her friends weren't defending her anymore. Half were quietly backing away, the other half were embarrassed to be associated. Talia went silent after getting roasted in her own comments. Aiden's cryptic posts about women using men for energy were getting clown-reacted left and right. And me? I didn't lift a finger. Didn't break no contact. Didn't fire back once. That's the beauty of staying calm. She thought she could paint me as toxic while she played enlightened. But when the lights literally went out and the receipts of her healing with Aiden surfaced, the mask fell off all by itself. From my loft, with working electricity, steady Wi-Fi, and my coffee machine humming, I watched her little empire of crystals and quotes crumble in public. And the best part? She couldn't even blame me without exposing the truth. But reality doesn't just tap you on the shoulder, it smacks you in the face. And Piper was about to learn that the hard way. A while after Talia's Facebook essay blew up in her face, my phone lit up while I was finishing a set at the gym. Unknown number. Normally I let those go, but I picked it up and sure enough, it was Mr. Grant figured you'd want an update on your old place, he said. I could already hear the humor in his voice. Hit me, I told him. He said, "Rent's due on the 1st. I don't see it until the 15th, if at all. Tries paying partials, then gets mad when I tack on late fees." I smirked. Checks out. "And last week," he continued, "she left me a handwritten letter. 2 pages. Called me a heartless man who doesn't understand her healing journey. Said the rent was oppressive to her growth. I almost dropped the phone from laughing. What did you do with it? She cried in the hallway, told me this was setting her healing back months. I told her healing had nothing to do with it. She just doesn't pay rent. I served her the formal notice the next day. Clock started ticking fast. That mental picture, Piper clutching her crystals while reading an eviction notice, was too good. She wanted independence? Well, she was about to find out what independence really meant. But here's where the universe really delivered. Aiden's life started unraveling at the exact same time. His landlord decided to sell the place he was renting. 30 days notice. Suddenly, Guru Aiden needed a couch too. Naturally, he turned to Piper. Now picture this. Aiden walking into her apartment expecting some bohemian loft, all incense and sacred vibes, only to find a half-empty cave. No TV, no coffee maker, no router, just a few candles struggling to light up the dark corners and a yoga mat on the floor like it was furniture. The fridge? Oat milk, wilted spinach, and expired hummus. Real abundant living. Neighbors later told Mr. Grant they could hear shouting through the walls that week. Piper screaming about how Aiden promised she wouldn't be alone. Aiden yelling that she'd used him as a rebound and that her life was a disaster. They went from whispering affirmations in yoga class to screaming over who forgot to buy toilet paper. The best part? They both tried to spin it like they were victims. Piper complained that Aiden wasn't providing stability. Aiden whined that Piper was draining his energy. In reality, they were just broke freeloaders circling the drain together. Aiden eventually floated the idea that they move somewhere cheaper together. Piper flipped. She wasn't about to go from flexing her downtown loft to living in some dump across town. Her ego couldn't handle the downgrade. She told him no, that she needed space for her journey. So Aiden bailed, packed up his mat and his essential oils, moved in with some random roommates, started posting vague quotes online like, "Even healers get used by those not ready for their light." He got clown reacted into oblivion. Piper? She was out of options. With an eviction notice taped to her door, unpaid utilities piling up, and no yoga prints to lean on, she dragged her stuff to Talia's guest room. Imagine that. Two women who branded themselves as independent queens now sharing a bathroom and pretending it was empowering. Meanwhile, my life kept leveling up. Woodworking class? I finished my first real coffee table, solid enough to actually hold weight. Started building a bookshelf next. Guys at the makerspace were normal. No one talking about aligning chakras to fix their finances. The gym? I was crushing personal records. Deadlift up, bench up, more energy than I'd had in years. Turns out when you're not carrying someone else's baggage, you've got a lot more left for yourself. Work? My boss pulled me aside, said he noticed a big shift, said I seemed sharper, more consistent, mentioned a promotion might be opening up. I didn't even realize how much Piper's drama had been draining me until I saw the difference. Even my loft felt like a victory lap. No crystals on the windowsills, no sage smoke choking the air, no half-baked lectures about boundaries, just clean space, decent furniture I actually liked, and silence when I wanted it. Sometimes I'd sit on my balcony with a cup of coffee, look out at the city, and think about Piper dragging her boxes into Talia's place, spinning it on Instagram as downsizing by choice. The contrast was hilarious. She gave up stability with me to chase a broke yoga instructor, and now she was a couch surfer with screenshots of her lies floating around the internet. And me, I was never better. Revenge doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's just watching two people who thought they outsmarted you crash and burn in slow motion. Aiden lost his place, Piper lost hers, and all I had to do was sip my coffee and enjoy the show. And just when I thought the entertainment was over, Piper gave me the encore. It started with a text. I was heading home from the gym one night, sore but feeling good, when my phone buzzed. I saw her name and almost laughed. For weeks she'd been silent after the eviction notice. Now she was back. The message was long, multiple bubbles of pure desperation. "I've been thinking a lot. I see now that you were the only one who really supported me. Aiden wasn't who I thought he was. You always believed in me. I know I made mistakes, but we can fix this. Please, Jonathan, don't throw away what we had. Just come home." I nearly dropped my protein shake laughing. Just come home! Like I'd been on vacation or something. As if she hadn't kicked off this entire circus with her "I need no contact to heal" speech. I didn't reply. Didn't even leave it on read. Just archived it and went about my night. The next day, she doubled down with a voicemail. Her voice cracked halfway through as she rambled about how she wasn't herself and how Aiden had misled her. My favorite line? "I realize now you're the stable one." No kidding. That's what I'd been the whole time. She just thought stability was boring until it was gone. I didn't respond to that either. I played it once for Jake, who nearly spit out his beer laughing, and then deleted it. See, the thing about begging is, it only works if the other person still wants what you're offering. By then, I was so far ahead she felt like a bad memory, not a real option. But life wasn't done giving me little wins. The final cherry on top came about a week later. I was walking into the grocery store near my loft, just grabbing basics, eggs, coffee, some chicken, when I saw them. Piper and Aiden. Together. Looked like they'd slunk back into each other's orbit. Two broke satellites sharing coupons. Guess misery really does love company. At first, I didn't even recognize them. They looked worn out. Piper's hair was messy, tied back in a way that screamed she hadn't had the energy to care. Her clothes were the same ones she'd been posting selfies in months ago, only now they looked tired, like she'd been living out of a suitcase. She was holding a basket with dollar brand bread and off-brand cereal. Aiden looked worse. Slouching in a hoodie, unshaven, pushing a cart half filled with discount groceries, the man who once preached about authentic energy looked like he hadn't had a good night's sleep in weeks. They spotted me before I could duck away. Piper's eyes widened, and she actually lit up like seeing me was some kind of blessing. "Jonathan," she said, rushing up to me. "Hey, wow, you look good." I smiled politely. "Thanks, eating real food helps." She laughed nervously, then tried to slide into old familiarity. "We should talk. Maybe grab coffee sometime? I've been meaning to tell you." I cut her off with a grin. "Coffee? Funny you'd bring that up. You remember the machine I took with me? Still works great. Makes mornings a lot easier." Her face fell. Aiden shuffled up behind her, glaring at me like I'd just insulted his manhood. "You think you're better than everyone, don't you?" he muttered. I shrugged. "Not everyone. Just you two." Piper's voice softened. "Jonathan, I was confused. I thought I needed space, but what I really needed was you. Can't we just start fresh?" That's when I really laid it down. Calm, cool, no anger. "Piper, you wanted independence. You begged for no contact. You told me you needed to heal. Well, you got your space, you got your healing, and now you got Aiden." I nodded at him. "That was your choice." Mine was walking away, and I don't regret it for a second. She looked like she wanted to argue, but no words came out. Aiden muttered something about me being toxic and pushed the cart forward, but even he didn't sound convinced anymore. They looked like two kids caught shoplifting candy, busted, embarrassed, and desperate to get out of sight. I grabbed my basket, walked past them, and checked out with my head high. On the way out, I caught my reflection in the glass doors. Clean cut, dressed sharp, healthy. I didn't look like a guy who'd been dragged through the mud. I looked like a man who dodged a bullet. That was the final flex right there. Not me yelling, not me humiliating them in public, just standing there, thriving, while they looked like the life had been drained out of them. Later that night, sitting on my balcony with a fresh cup of coffee, I thought about that grocery store run. How she begged me to come back, how he sulked behind her, and how I felt absolutely nothing but satisfaction. She wanted space? She had plenty. Empty shelves, empty wallets, empty excuses. She wanted independence? She got it, living out of Talia's spare room and buying discount bread. She wanted Aiden? She got him, burned out, broke, and bitter. And me? I had peace, my own place, a promotion on the horizon, a body getting stronger every week, friends who actually added something to my life instead of draining it. Piper begged, but it was too late. I was already gone. Best decision I ever made.